What's going on, guys? So in this video today we're going to show you how to do a frame repair. The vehicle I'm doing the frame repair is actually a 2007 Toyota 4Runner. This applies for a lot of different vehicles. You could apply what I'm doing to a lot of different vehicles. The frame will be a little bit different, and obviously some of the objects in the way will be a little bit different. But let me just show you how bad the frame is now and what our plan is to get it fixed. Okay, so this is the 4Runner. If we jump on down here, you can see this is the rear end of the truck, and this is the frame here that has been rotted out. So what I've had to do is cut the spare tire bracket off because I'm going to be putting a plate over this, a C-channel, and then I'm going to be gusseting on the back here. So with that removed, I can show you here, it's hanging down. I'm going to be doing both sides, even though this side is not as bad. But I will have to cut this whole spare tire bracket off just to fit the channel in. And I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so come back to the bench here. I'm going to show you what my plan is, or my idea. There's a lot of different ways to do this. The frame really isn't that bad at the top, at the exterior side and the bottom. It's mainly just that one inner side. So this is what I was thinking. So this is the steel, right? This is my idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this. If you were picturing it from the inside outward, I'm going to slide this piece of metal over the section of frame that's rusted. I have holes here that I'm going to be welding to the good sections of the frame as well as the bottom. That's just to kind of hold it, and then what I'm going to do is once it gets onto the other side of the frame, I'm going to put this sandwich plate on, like this, and then also weld these outside corners back to the frame, as well as before I put this plate on, I'm going to weld inside there to the frame, top and bottom. And again, those holes are going to hold on the other side. They're kind of access holes, if you would. But there is one problem. The frame on this 4Runner has a bit of a curve to it, as you can see here. So that piece would sit like this. So to mitigate this, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Okay guys, so what I've done is I've cut relief cuts into the metal. Very thin cuts with just a cutting disc. And that's going to allow, when I clamp this down, it's going to allow for this to bend with the contour of the frame. And I'm going to clamp each individual section to get that perfect angle on the frame. So there's no big gaps or nothing like that. I did not cut the top of this metal. I wanted to keep this structural, and I just needed enough for the metal to move, and this will be welded back in solid. So the structure of the metal will almost go back to its original state. There's no really other way of doing this unless you get 3 plates or 4 plates, but I don't really like that method. So I decided to go this way. Because the frame isn't actually that bad, it's just on the inner side, I think you'll get away fine with this. So now what we have to do is go back over here, and I've already started to clean up the frame a bit in areas that I'm going to be welding and need access to. So what I'm using to remove the rust is a needle scaler. This is basically the first step. I'm hitting it, all the loose rust with the needle scaler, getting it off. It works great. These tiny needles vibrate under air pressure, and they just kind of knock off all the stuff. Next thing I do is I move to a wire wheel. I move to a wire wheel just to knock any of the other finer loose material off, the finer rust, anything like that. And then the areas I'm going to be welding, I grind down to a finished metal. Something that I can actually get a good bite on, that's going to be clean, that I'm going to have good welds. So with that being said, I'm going to start cleaning the frame and prepping it to be welded, and I'll show you once that's done. Because I've test fitted this piece on that side of the frame and both sides of the frame are the same, I'll show you how that fit up and why I cut that in a minute. But so what I did is I just obviously traced out to keep everything the same, use this as the template, and then yeah, so we're going to leave this side, do not cut that side. got our marks there. I'm gonna start cutting this, and then that way before I put this on the frame, I don't have to measure twice and then find all the same angles. It took me a while to figure this out on. So I'm just kind of mocking this template off that one, save some time. And then I'll show you what I mean by how it fits on the frame and how we clamp it down to get it perfect. Okay, so with our frame cleaned up now where we need to weld, I just have to clean this spot a little bit better just to get a better contact patch. So as you can see, the top is still intact, but the relief cuts are here on the side and the bottom. Those will all be welded in, but now I have the contour of the frame pretty well. And you might be going, whoa, how's that gonna work on this side? So this is the opposite side of the frame. And what we're gonna do is we're going to take this plate steel like this, and we're going to slide it, we're going to slide it in like that, and then weld the top, bottom. And you might notice, well, there's a bit of a gap here. That's where the clamps come in. So I'm going to clamp each individual section so it's touching the frame, and then it'll be a perfect tight surface. This will fit in just right. Before I do that, I'm gonna weld, I'm gonna clamp everything down here, here, weld all the seams in so that structure's there and it's not going to move. And then I'm going to put the plate steel on to finally cap it off to give it that nice look. And then I'll probably drill out the holes here and here just to keep the factory drain holes or whatever those may be, just so we don't introduce any moisture into the frame and not let it out. Another big thing that people fail to remember is when you're doing a frame repair like this, make sure you empty whatever material, gunk, or garbage or leftover rust that's in the frame. That will hold moisture. And if you don't do that and you cap this all off, you're just letting moisture sit in there and it'll eat itself out again. So just make sure you do that. Here's a better angle of it. And once I get it all clamped up, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, now you can see I got the clamps on and it's starting to take shape again. And again, I'm going to tack weld the inners and outers to hold it, move the clamp, and then kind of follow it along. I do have some clamps in place here just to hold it where I need it. But as I'm welding, I'm going to be moving the clamps to make sure everything stays where I need it to stay. And I'm just doing light welds at first to hold it in place, and then I'm going to be fully welding the seams and then adding that gusset plate. And I'll show you how much better that gusset plate fits after the relief cuts, getting the contour of the frame and holding it with the clamps. So now I'm going to break out the welder, and before I do that, always remove the battery, at least the negative terminal, but I would remove the positive and negative before welding on any vehicle. Okay, now the frame's all welded up. Everything came out nice. You can see how the contour and everything, what I was talking about there with the notches. So now we're gonna give it a quick paint job, and then we're gonna move on to the other side. Okay guys, so I got one side all welded up, all cleaned up, ready to be prepped. I'm going to be using POR 15 is my base coat. This is not UV protected, so you do have to hit it with like a top coat just so the paint doesn't deteriorate over time with sun exposure. This is underneath the car frame, so it's not that big of a deal, but I'm going to be using Rust Check just top paint as well. Even though this metal is brand new, any little areas that I missed or anything like that, and then there's going to be some overspray anyways, so there will still be some rust there, so I'm going to be using this as my top coat. Okay guys, I didn't want to really show you, I forgot to show you, sorry, the prep of the POR 15, but that stuff gets everywhere, and so I got it all in my hands. I didn't want to be touching the camera, but I'm going to be spraying the top coat on now, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is the final product. As you can see, the contour of the frame, everything looks good there. Quality welds, and then I'll show you the other side. If you come, sorry about the shaky camera work, but if you come over here, you can see the other side's on. Those are the holes I had to fill with weld, and then my cuts I filled with weld. I probably should have grinded it down a little bit more, but you know what? Once this gets some dirt and road grime on it, you won't even be able to tell. But yeah, that's a good frame repair right there. And from this side, the side that you will see, it looks amazing. Okay guys, like typical fashion, I forgot to record an outro video, so I'm just simply showing you here both sides complete of the 4Runner. There's the left there, and you just saw the right. So it ended up going pretty well. Like I said, I used the POR 15 and then just a rust coat top paint. The customer was very happy with the quality of work and the way the contour of the frame worked out with that notch style. And I'm just showing you here now the mess that I left in my garage that I will be left cleaning up. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, try and comment, like, and subscribe. It helps me out huge and it costs you nothing.